Okay, so we want to make it so our players can only control themselves and not anybody else. So for that, we're going to jump back into our player controller script. So I'm going to go over here and up the top. At the moment, our player controller script is all set up for just working by itself, but now we need to start making it work with our Photon systems. So at the top up here, I'm going to include using photon.pun. And then over here, I'm going to switch mono behavior out for mono behavior pun callbacks. And we're doing that because we're going to need a couple of functions a little bit further down the line as we go to make sure that we're able to access the pun systems. So the main thing we're going to do is make it so that our player is only maneuverable when we are directly in control of the player, and when we get to the, where are we? There we go, the late update. We want to make sure that in the late update that we only update the camera's position if we are in control of the camera. If we are the player who's actively controlling the game. And now the question obviously is, well, how can we do this? And there's actually a very, very simple way to do this. If we go back into our game here and we remember that on our resources we have our player, and down here we have our photon view. If you notice in here there's an ownership, and at the moment you can see this is about how you transfer the ownership and stuff like that. And we have things like the view ID and things. Let's see if we can run the game here and see if we get some valuable information. I can't remember what it will display correctly. Let's just jump into a solo game here. If I go down and select my player clone, here we go. So in the photon view, we have a couple of things. We've got a view ID and we've got this thing called is mine, and then controller, owner, creator. So controller, owner, and creator, these will tell us the nickname of the person who is in control of this one. So my game created this player clone, so that means that I'm in control of this one. If I go and get my previously built game, give me 1 second, and I dive in here, find my room, like so. So there we go. I can see the other player here now. So this other one I just dropped in, there you go. You can see we've got controller, owner, and creator is P2. And you'll notice that for the one that I created, the is mine variable here is marked as true, and that means that I'm the one who created this one. So this is the one, this is mine basically. And on the other one it says is mine is false because P2 created this, not me. So with that in mind, we can use that information. If I stop this running here and stop you as well, we can use that information to say that if the photon view that's connected to this player is mine, then that means I should be able to update the camera, for example. So in our late update here, let's say if, and how we can get the photon view is actually really handy. We could obviously create a variable up here and store that and set it to be the correct thing, but really handily in Photon, all we have to do is say if bracket photon view, and that will just get the photon view that is attached to us. So if the photon view is mine, well, if that's the case, then update the camera's position. Very simple and very easy to do. So then let's scroll all the way back up here, and at the start of the update section, before we do any move input or anything like that, right in here, I'm just going to say if photon view, and it's really important also just to clarify this, that we use photon view with a small p. Photon view with a capital P is the variable type. Photon view with a small p is the specific photon view that's attached to this script. So photon view dot is mine once more, and I'm going to open the curly bracket here. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the end of this section down here, after the escape and everything, or sorry, after the cursor stuff. I'm going to hit curly bracket, and that'll make everything else above here tab in slightly to keep in the correct hierarchy. And there we go, that's it. So now if I save this, go back in here and build my game once more, we should, hopefully all going according to plan, we should see the player only being able to control one player at a time. So we'll just wait for this to build, and let's go ahead and play this one. Set my name, create my test room, We'll join the room, start the game, and now, if I go to this one, actually, there we go. So I can now control this player running around, while the other player stays exactly still, unless of course I switch over to my being in control of this game, and now I can run this player around, and you can see in the scene view up there that the other player is staying exactly where they were. Okay, so perfect. That means that our networking is now working correctly, and we actually have two players able to run around, and obviously you can have as many players as you want able to run around at the same time.